Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Chelsey Johnson. I am the Communications Manager for the Ontario First Nations Technical Services Corporation. And we have a program that we run called the Technical Youth Career Outreach Project. And that is where we promote First Nations youth to pursue technical careers. So anything that's in the STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, or math. We try to promote those fields because in a lot of First Nations, they need more people in those areas, and just kind of trying to create more awareness about what these careers are. So today we're joined by one of our mentors, Skylar Manitowabi. Hi, Skylar.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right.
Good.
Yeah.
And Skylar, the first time we kind of found out about Skylar was when he applied to our Student Achievement Awards, and he was the recipient of the Robert Olivier Memorial Award. And last year, again, I know you were a recipient of a Student Scholarship Award, so that's pretty exciting. And then we kind of just asked if you wanted to be a mentor for students out there, other First Nations youth who maybe are interested in engineering. And so today we're just hoping to talk to Skylar a little bit about what he does, how he got into it, and some of the advice that he might have for other youth who are interested in this career. So I'll just get started with the first question for Skylar. I think starting at that kind of foundation, like how did you find out about this engineering career? How did you decide this is what I want to go for?
I was basically as a child, I really enjoyed building things, and really like to see how things are constructed and how they stand up and how they can withstand like forces and loads and whatnot. It wasn't until around high school where like one of my teachers, Mr. Chris Mara, really suggested that I should pursue like an engineering degree or something like an engineering degree, because I was really really strong in math and like physics and all the sciencey type courses. And he really saw like, oh, Skylar has like this potential in this sort of field. So there was that. And also I had like several influences. Like my great grandfather was like he enrolled to be in the World War II, and like there he served as like sort of like a construction engineer, where he I guess build roads or like established roads and did the bridges, trenches and all that to advance like the troops there. And my grandfather, he was sort of exactly the same thing, where he had his own construction company, his own contracting company. So like he did like a lot of ground field work to excavate foundations and build all these sewers and like water. So I had that. So it's like basically in my family.
That's really cool. Is it something you think like that it just runs in your family? Like you guys are just interested in building things and
I think we're really interested in building things, and just that's
yeah,
sort of like, I think that's how we see it. Okay, this is how we can help as
right.
well. Yeah.
And I heard you mention your teacher, who was probably influential in helping you kind of go down at that path, right? You know, like you could have maybe, if they hadn't said anything, you maybe would have kept going another direction, but they kind of helped steer you into that path. Is that, I guess, is that someone you would consider a mentor, or how do mentors like play that role in how you came to be an engineer?
I really think maybe my high school teacher was a mentor, because he really, again, like influenced and like really, what's the word? I guess pushed me to achieve and pursue this. And like he was always supportive in that. And he was like, all you have to do is just make it through this, do this and do that, then you will be okay. And yeah, then sometimes when I was living in Hamilton, he took a group of students to like the I First Nation first, it was like a robotics competition in like Mississauga, and like I went because I had a free day, and I knew he was there because uh, they were like broadcasting it on Facebook, on social media. So I went to go pay him a visit, and like he was just like so overwhelmed that I showed up, and like seeing how like I've becoming successful in engineering, and and we just caught up, and he was like really proud of that.
That's so cool. And
Yeah.
then I wonder too, if you could just explain a little bit about like, I guess the different types of engineering, what is an engineer and what specifically did you take? Like, cause I know there's
Okay.
different
Yeah.
pathways, right? And engineering even.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, engineering is like such a broad, I guess, not spectrum, but like a broad umbrella where it encompasses a lot of things. You can be an engineer in almost anything, like mechanical or biomedical or like even wastewater. Um, as for me, I took more the civil route, which is kind of just like your roadways, your highways, your um, bridges, like anything to do with like I like to think about it as civilization, because like the word civil is in both. So like you're bettering you're bettering the society and infrastructure and all this. Yeah, but like an engineer basically just um, has like this complex, not a complex problem, and like he or she um, designs, investigates, builds, and tests certain, I guess, solutions to see if that certain solution fits the problem at hand. So
So it kind of like sounds like it's engineers are almost at like the basis of like our society. Like they do everything that is like just serving a function for us to go about our daily lives. Like an engineer was
yeah,
involved
yeah,
in that, like the road and the
yeah,
bridge. Like,
exactly. Yeah,
you don't think about crossing the bridge, you're like, you just think like, oh, somebody just built it. But no, like there's a lot more
there's a
thought that has
lot.
to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
into it, right? So I think that's really cool. And like, what would you say is your favorite part? Like what, when you're, well, I guess first of all, I wanted to find out, are you still in school right now, or are you working, or are you doing both?
I'm doing both at the moment. So I'm working full time with the NRC, so National Research Council, as like a technical officer. So basically, my job is just to, it's like testing material testing, and like we say if there's like a new product, or like we wanted to innovate a certain type of product, we just like put it through the ringer and see if it works or not. um, so there's that. Then I'm actually doing a part-time master program here in Ottawa. It's Masters of Engineering and Civil Engineering. So I have
Wow.
my hands quite full.
Yes, for sure. And so I guess in doing your work that you're doing right now, what's your favorite part? Like, what do you get the most satisfaction from? And yeah.
I think for me, I really enjoy just like the process of how a certain material behaves under certain conditions. Right now, there's like, I kind of like work in a corrosion lab too, and like we like take a chunk of a bridge and like we like corrode the rebar that's inside, and to see how it can withstand the corrosion effect plus the loads, and it's like really interesting stuff. And I kind of find that fascinating.
I hadn't even thought of that, right? Like the materials inside the bridge when they start to kind of like get old and deteriorate,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
how like
Well,
well
yeah.
will that hold up and stuff.
Well, like even in our climates too, with like, especially in Ontario, with like, especially in the winter, when they like to salt the bridges and salt the roads, and the salt like migrates through the concrete, because concrete is like a chemical composition of like the cement.
Yeah.
So like it migrates through the rebar and corrodes the rebar that way. Yeah.
So the salt on the road, is it kind of like porous? Like the concrete is kind of like lets the salt get in and then it starts to kind of corrode
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
rebar
Some, yeah.
inside?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. There's so many
Mhm.
things I would never even would have thought about that. But do they teach you all this in school? Like, do they?
They teach some of it. Uh, like I know there's like specific courses on like just corrosion, so I'm pretty sure they do teach it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm curious too to learn how your experience was because I went to McMaster too, but I was in humanities. So I was in like more of the arts field, right? And
Yeah.
so I know at McMaster, engineering, the program engineering is very popular. We have a lot of engineers and health science. Like those are the two kind of big programs at Mac. But like, what was your experience like in school? And did you have any support from your community or from any mentors in school during your time there?
Okay. So prior to McMaster, I went to Algonquin College first for 3 years to get my advanced diploma in civil technology. Then afterwards, I like transferred over to Mac to finish 2 more years to obtain a bachelor um, of technology degree in like civil engineering infrastructure. Um, in regards to support, there was always like a community I always went to for like if I needed help or if I just needed to get like a human interaction, because studying engineering, any type of engineering is really comprehensive and like really difficult. So like you kind of like need that break. Um, I found that community in like just the Aboriginal Indigenous centers at both institutions, and I found that like really helpful too. Um, the one thing I wish I did have was, I guess, like definitely an Indigenous mentor that was in some sort of engineering program or engineering discipline. I would think that would help a lot, and just seeing how the studies I'm doing right now plays or like applies to the real life applications.
Yeah. It's interesting you brought that up too, because I'm just curious, all these different fields, I feel like some ways they can connect to Indigenous knowledge and Indigenous culture. Like, is there a certain way that you see engineering, the field that it is today? Does that have connections to who we are as Indigenous people? Or how does that interplay at all, like in your life? Do you find yourself thinking, oh, like, we used to build structures this way and this is how it's built today and it kind of is the same? Like, is there any kind of connections across the?
Mm. Well, I think there's one. Um, I think just like the building envelope of like a building, because like Indigenous people, we already knew that smoke is dangerous, so we have to we have to get that out somehow, right? And even like with the wigwams or teepees, never like really notice the skirt is like not always on the ground, it's like above a bit, right? So that allows airflow to go through the top and get the smoke out. And Indigenous people like always knew um, how to how to better themselves even without like, I guess, Western influences. Um, even just like the waterways too, we always knew that water is important, and like we know that water is sustainable, um, and like right now it's just like a lot of municipalities are like trying to preserve the water and like clean the water. And yeah, so I'm pretty sure I like, yeah, it connects.
Yeah, it's kind of like you have to take, I think the difference too is like between the indigenous way of knowing is more like protecting it from ever getting polluted in the first place. Right?
Yes.
Whereas like the westernized kind of mentality is like just dump everything into the water and then we'll clean it up later. But it's like we hadn't thought like that, right? Like we
No,
always
no.
made sure that we were doing things sustainably, like you
Yeah,
said.
yeah, yeah.
So that's really good to know. And then I guess if you could share any advice that you would give to a younger First Nations or Indigenous person who's maybe not sure what they want to do, or they maybe are interested in engineering, but they're a little bit intimidated because I feel like math and science, those are kind of harder subjects. And so what advice would you have for somebody who's thinking about pursuing an engineering degree?
I would, um, I guess, just have to think about this.
Take your time.
Yeah.
Like, what do you wish somebody had said to you? I guess what your teacher said, or something like that.
I think it's just like the reassurance and like just saying, okay, like it is gonna be like tough, but you can do it. If you're like you're strong in math, then you should be all right. And like if you're somewhat strong in physics, you'll be all right. It's just like this has to come down to time management skills as well, because like in engineering programs, you are heavily bombarded with assignments, like an assignment almost like every week or every other day. Then you have your midterms and your finals, and that's just like for like 4 years, it's like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so like I guess right, if I would have to give any advice, is just to try like work on your time management skills, because that really does prove to work. And always take time for yourself too. And it's like something I'm learning. I'm still learning to ease up a bit and like take some time for yourself, and that to like clear your mind and clear your thoughts, and also like work on your mental health as well, because that's again extremely important.
Mhm.
Um,
What kind of things do you do to look after yourself?
I would just like I like go to the gym and like just even just like watching Netflix or watching movies, or like just going out for a stroll, or especially like in the winter months, I would go out skiing once in a while to just get out of the house. And yeah, and also maybe one more thing is like try like picking up a new sport, because like with skiing, I never was a skier back at home. I didn't find that sport until like I moved to Ottawa first. Uh, so
Wow. So wait, haven't you, how long have you been in Ottawa?
I've been in Ottawa since 2013.
Okay.
Yeah,
But you had just kind of started skiing once you moved there and just
yeah,
picked
yeah.
up something
I
from
just picked
the,
up something. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Skiing is fun, but very scary.
It is. Yeah,
That is so cool. Well, thanks so much, Skylar, for taking the time to chat with us today, because I know how busy you are.
yeah. Thank you.
We really appreciate it. And if anyone wants to chat with Skylar or learn a bit more about engineering, we can connect you with Skylar and he can share some
Mhm.
information. And yeah, hopefully we'll be able to see you soon. Yeah, keep on doing what you're doing and we
Thank you
support
so
you with
much.
everything. So thanks, Skylar.
Thank you so much, Chelsey.
Okay,
Have
bye.
a good day.